You cannot not communicate is a quote by communication scientist Paul Watzlawick, Austrian. And it pretty much means that if you say nothing in a conversation back as a feedback, it means that you don't care. And probably in our case, it means you do not offer. In addition to what Xavier said this morning, that we should stop blaming SMEs to be not certified, I believe that we should also stop blaming travelers for having this attitude-behavior gap. We all know about it, and we all heard about it, and we all have ourselves, actually. So welcome, everybody, to this session that focuses on how destinations can communicate good travel experiences by combining storytelling, planning, and actually the right tools we are all discussing about during this whole conference. The first part of our session will explore traveler interest in experiences with a focus on trails and accessibility from Slovenia and from Ukraine. The second part will showcase early successes in good travel experience implementation and communication of some other Good Travel Alliance founding destinations from Corsica and the UK. And it will look at next steps for 2026 and 2027 with a focus on exciting new partnerships. I will hand the microphone over to Darcy for the second part. He will then introduce the panelists and welcome experts from Amadeus and also from Outdooractive and lead the discussion. Now, for the first part, let me welcome to stage Hannah, talking about the why and the how Lviv created and communicates accessible experiences, followed then by Jan from Good Place, Slovenia, talking about trails creating not only interest, but also very positive impact to destinations. So please, Hannah.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you, Holger. It's a big pleasure to be here on the stage today and represent Lviv. So, a few words about what tourism in Lviv looked like before and after full-scale invasion. Please, can I get another slide? Okay, here, green. Great. So, Lviv is the largest city in Western Ukraine with population of 1 million people. It's located close to Polish border, and before the full-scale Russian invasion, we welcomed 2.5 million tourists, 58% of whom were foreigners. And after the full-scale invasion, the share of foreign visitors decreased to 11%. Instead, Lviv is actively visited by Ukrainians for leisure, people with IDP status, visiting friends or relatives for business purposes, volunteering, and transit. Lviv is located more than 1,000 kilometers from the front line, so people often come here as a relatively safe city for physical and psychological recovery. So what has changed after the full-scale Russian invasion? Lviv has become a humanitarian hub for helping the affected regions of Ukraine. Few facts to understand these changes. In less than a year, modern rehabilitation centers have opened and are developing in Lviv, providing a full cycle of treatment and recovery for people affected by the hostilities. It's unbroken and superhumans. More than 20,000 wounded military and civilians were undergone treatment and rehabilitation in Lviv, and 150,000 internally displaced persons stayed in the city since February 2022. When we were working, when we were working on the tourism development program 2025, at the end of 2022, we thought about what our new guests would need and how they would feel here. And since Lviv established its brand, Lviv identifies itself as a welcoming and people-oriented city that strives to share its uniqueness with the world. And that's when we started to wonder, is it the city really open to everyone? As a part of the program, we met with our professional groups, including hospitality sector, to understand their needs. They reported a rise in visitors with disabilities and veterans, and uncertainty about how to serve them without harming their psychological well-being. In response, we made safety and accessibility a key priority for the coming years, and the focus now is on staff psycho-education, proper communication, and creating a barrier-free environment. City Hills program, that what we launched in early 2023, by the tourist office and medical institutions, offers cultural activities for veterans undergoing treatment in Lviv. These activities support their social inclusion and emotional recovery. The program revealed gaps in accessibility, prompting the creation of a partner network committed in improving services. Also, we work on 2 accessible tourist routes in the city for people with reduced mobility, visual and hearing impairments in the city center and in the city's largest historical park. Hospitality Without Barriers. This is an educational project that we launched in response to requests from tourism professionals for a better understanding of the needs of people with disabilities and veterans. Over 2 years of offline training, we have trained 242 professionals from 68 hospitality establishments. As you see, it's also trainings for local tour guides. It was online, and now we have 80 trained tour guides. Online course, you can scan there also this QR code and to see how it looks. For the 3rd year running, we have developed an online course, so that this knowledge is available as a ready-made tool that hospitality workers can use anywhere and anytime. The guide teaches correct vocabulary, respectful interaction, and recommendations for service algorithm in the HoReCa sector. This is accessibility city map. We have created this, to which we add verified accessible locations that may be of interest to visitors and residents of the city. Establishments and cultural institutions can only be included after information of accessibility by the monitoring group. All these projects is an ecosystem and strategy that the whole city is working on. I have often mentioned veterans as our target audience. They are currently a vulnerable group who need attention and sense of inclusion in society, just like their loved ones who are also going through a very difficult period in their lives. During this time, Lviv has come to understand that accessibility is not only about, it's not only necessary for people with disabilities, but for everyone at different periods of life. So, is Lviv open to everyone? I hope that in a few years we will be able to say yes. And it's a great honor for Lviv to be a part of the GTA community, to learn from you, to build our path of responsible tourism alongside you. Thank you.
Please, Hannah, stay here with me a little bit. I really want to emphasize that you always mention how grateful you are for the GTA to be a member. I think when we see this topic of accessibility, I'm so pleased that you are here and you are joining us and you could come also to this conference, because it's a very, very important topic. And it's mostly underrated even in the sustainability world, and especially in tourism, because we all know when we talk about how to communicate experiences, one that guests would find about accessibility is a yes or no. Yeah, we are accessible, we are not, but it's much more than that. And I would say that Lviv is leading already inside our community and can give us back what you learned about it. So I have one final question for you. What would you say to your colleagues from other destinations? What's the best way, and how could you encourage your suppliers, hotels, activity providers to care for this topic of accessibility? What could you share with us, how we could encourage them?
Yeah, thank you, Holger. It's very touchful for us. Actually, I guess the best way is to create a platform, communication platform for this audience, or people who can be like potential audience, and providers, service providers. Yeah, and for example, in Lviv, we invite our tour guides. We just, have visit for like excursion to the rehabilitation centers. Also, after this, we have do like not just like informal meetings in in restaurants, cafes, and we invite veterans and also another professionals from tourism sector, and they discuss, because we have a lot of like less understanding, and we need to build this bridges between them. So, but they, not maybe so comfortable, and so they just don't know how to do it right. So we just make this platform.
Thank you very much again. I think that's a very important part, to include people that are affected and learn from them. Thank you very much, Hannah from Lviv. So As a next best practice, may I invite Jan from Good Place, Slovenia, who will talk about the impact of trails.
Just give me a second. Okay, thank you for the invitation. As Holger said, I'm coming from Slovenia, from Good Place. Since you probably now already know my colleague Jana, you can imagine that we are basically developing sustainable tourism. But within the NGO, my responsibility or my mission, or even better, my passion is to develop outdoor products, especially routes, so everything that's connected with soft mobility. With the difference maybe between me and you, or maybe even not, I really consider routes, especially trails, that they're very important or very nice marketing and economical engine with which you can do some changes, especially if you know your target group really well, their needs, and then you can use it for different purposes. And today I would just like to show you how to go from the product to the certification with the help of the trail. But on Sunday, when we had the workshop, I also showed the other product that we used when we went from the certification to the product. So today I'll talk about Transdinarica. I always say that it's the first cycling route that connected the entire Balkans. I always say that it's a mixture between the adventure, culture, and cuisine. Since some of the cyclists are using bike just a way of mobility between the different cultural spots. It's sustainable tourism, sustainable product, I'll come to that a little bit later on. And it connects 8 countries. And because it's such an easy story to tell or to sell to the media, even though we haven't spent €1 for the promotion, and because it has a clear beginning, the trail, the route, because it has a clear ending, we knew when the launching date would be exactly. Media really picked it up really quickly. And because media picked it up really quickly, we had over 200 coverages just for that trail. We also established the economical impact of it. Since you're not probably cyclists, all of you, I'll just show you a short movie what is actually Transdinarica, because I think it shows it really well.
I'm Alex Kerbar. I'm a journalist by trade and write travel stories for a living. But after covering the Western Balkans for the last 25 years, it was time to start giving back. I finally got my chance when a couple of friends approached me about an idea. What if we created a cycle route that traverses all 8 countries of the region?
Perfect riding, beautiful weather.
The Transdinarica, the first and only cycle route to connect the entire Western Balkans.
So let's check it on the map. So it starts in Slovenia, actually to the border to Italy, in Soča Valley, from where I'm coming from, and it goes along Slovenia, through Croatia to Bosnia, then Montenegro, Albania, and then up back to North Macedonia, Kosovo, Serbia, and then back loops up to Bosnia. It has 98 stages, 5,500 kilometers, just a few facts. But now let's go to what I would really like to say. So Transdinarica is a marketing engine. As you probably all know and hear lots of bad news about in the past, about the Balkans, about the war, and about the conflict. Our mission was from the beginning already to talk about positive stories, about how great the place is, how friendly the people are, what the great food you can find there, about the mountains and things like that. And that's why we were changing the perception of the Balkans with these stories, not just attractive cyclists. We are very proud of some of the rewards that we got, especially I really like the one, the brightest idea from the Condé Nast last year. But what happened also, those people who are reading those stories, they came on our communication channels. We identified them, we considered them as a flash blood into our marketing system, and then extrapolate them towards our target group as much as possible. And what we also did basically with that approach, we created our own media. So now we are not dependent anymore just about on the other media, but we have our own. For instance, this year we reached with our Meta, so Facebook and Instagram, about 1.8 million. We have about 100 visitors this year on our website, and we have about 7,500 subscribers to our e-news, so the ones who really want and come and do the Transdinarica. So like I said from the beginning, it's very important when you're developing the product that you know the target group and their needs. We really knew who are our target market. So as you can see, the first cyclists they're coming from Germany. They're not very active on the media, but as you can see, they really go and do our Transdinarica. As normally, Germans, they talk less and do more. But you can also say that we have people from US, Great Britain, Switzerland, etc. So because we created this marketing engine for the destination for the Balkans, we also created automatically then the economical engine of the Balkans. So let's check some of the numbers that are very important for us. In a year, we had about 4,000 downloads of our navigation pack. They have to pay for it, and this is our sustainability. Already now we can cover the costs of the route. We know because we have a survey, as soon as you purchase, then you are targeted by our emails constantly so that we get the feedback how you enjoy the Transdinarica. So we also know that 2.4 people are using one navigation pack. We also know in addition that 43% are using some other navigation packs or free one that we use or one of our tour operator. And if we go on and on, so for instance, they spent about 75 euros a day. They do 9 stages. We know, for instance, that in Slovenia, especially, the economical multiplicator is about 2.5. We can come with a number, what's the economical impact? And the economical impact of Transdinarica is, in 1 year, about 9 million directly, but indirectly, together with indirectly, it's about 23 million. And why is this so important? Once you're holding the marketing engine in your hand, in your wheel, and economical engine, then you can steer it wherever you want. And what we are doing, in our application, we have 3,000 points of interest, and 2/3 of them are businesses. So we decide where we will take these people. And what we are doing with it, here we come to the last point, Transdinarica as a sustainable regenerative engine of the Balkans. We bring it to villages where there is no tourism. What do you think is the biggest problem of the Balkans at the moment? Migration. Migration to the big cities, migration to the Central Europe, Western Europe, or wherever there is a better life. With the engine in our hand, we can steer them to those villages where tourism is a force of good, where it represents additional income, so they have another reason to stay in the villages. At the same time, I always like to say that routes are a great connector. We connected what the world divided. Once our tourists are going from one border to another, they are talking to people. They tell them how nice it is on the other side, with the other side of the border. So they are changing again the perception. And what's also important, business doesn't know the borders. As cyclists, we don't know them. So basically, what we do, business start to cooperate. So it's a force of good. And what I like to say as well, we cyclists, we are slowly and hungry. We can come to wherever we want, where the other tourists do not come. And finally, when I said it's also sustainable product, we created code of conduct for all the cyclists, so how to behave sustainably, responsibly. And now, from the product to certification, each tour operator who wants to be part of Transdinarica have to get certified within 1 year. And now we have pilot projects, 5 of them. Our mission is then to certify businesses and destinations. So, with a powerful engine in your hand, you can do, I think, quite a lot of changes.
Thank you very much, Jan. Also stay here a little bit. I mean, this is quite an impressive example of how experiences can really create something and create economic impact as well. And as I know you are a data person, I'm not. I have one question for you. You showed really enormous reach of all that and downloads and numbers of downloads. Do you have any data on how many of the users that downloaded the route or the navigation actually was on the route, apart from the ones that came by tour operators, where you probably know it. Do you see the downloads going around the route? Can you measure that?
Yeah, we try to measure as much as possible, because with the data we can convince then our stakeholders or donors to invest even more to further develop. So one of them is also what they do and what's the percentage of tourists who are using tour operators. In our case, it's about 8%, but it's outstanding statistics. So I'm a little bit crazy about data. So I'm sure if you would ask that question or just check what's happening in Slovenia, this percentage would be much lower, because I think the perception of the international cyclists, they more trust the Slovenia still, that it would be easier to go around, to move around, to talk to the people. And this, basically in some countries, for sure, it's easier, especially for tourists overseas, to just use the tour operator.
Okay, thank you. Maybe one additional short question. Speaking of these two profiles, like the ones that do it independently and the ones coming by tour operator, can you create profiles on different behaviors or something like that, or not?
Yeah, sure, you can definitely do. What I think that this percentage will also change in the future, because always when you create the route, they are the adventurous people who are coming, and they are your ambassadors. If they will like the product, if they'll talk positively about it, then also the leisure cyclists will come. So of course it's a huge difference, and also the difference by spending. For instance, we have a tour operator also within the Good Place, I would call it. It's called Visit Good Place. And for instance, if the average spendage on Transdinarica route on a guy who is going, on a cyclist who is going independently, it's about 100 euros, I would assume. If they go with our tour operator, it's about 250. So it's different profiles, and also I think with the cyclists, everything it's correlated. So different needs, different markets. So you have to know that each market has a different needs.
Thank you very much again.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you also to Hannah again, and I'm happy to hand over the microphone to Darcy. The hairs don't change, but the voice changes, I would say.
Exactly. We go to the same barber. Huh? Economic impact. Those guys need to make money too. They don't make so much money with us, but the razor companies do. Great. Thank you for both of those very, very inspiring stories. What we moved to do today, of course, in this session, and again, thank you for sharing these examples, are again how to communicate these types of experiences. And so we would like to have now a couple other destination examples, other destinations that are within the Good Travel Alliance to come and talk with us about their particular communication efforts in this regard, and also again the continued conversation about how we're linking, how other organizations are linking these offers or have the potential to link these offers. So with that said, I don't actually know if we had a specific order. Yes? Scott? Okay. Scott and then Jean-Louis. So, pardon? Okay, Amadeus goes first. That's what I saw, but then, I wasn't quite sure. Wanted to check. Amadeus, please come first. And yes, welcome.
Can I use this one?
You can use this, of course. Of course.
Okay, and here we have the clicker. Can you hear me okay? Okay, good. So we have 5 minutes. I have 5 minutes to tell you a little bit more about Amadeus, what we do, and why we are here today to talk about communicating good travel experiences. So first of all, a little bit about who we are, Amadeus, and here you can see on the screen what is our newly revamped story, mission, purpose, as we call it. So we say we make the experience of travel better for everyone, everywhere, by inspiring innovation, partnerships, and responsibility to people, places, and planet. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it says what it says. So we really have embedded in our corporate mission and purpose this sense of wanting to do good for the people, places, and the planet. For those who are not familiar with what Amadeus do, so may I ask, in the audience, who has heard about Amadeus? Who knows who Amadeus is? Okay, so half, I would say. Okay, so Amadeus is a big technology company, and we like to say that we are invisible, but we are everywhere. We are everywhere in the ecosystem, actually, of the travel and tourism industry. So basically, we connect a lot of the actors of the ecosystem. So it includes airlines. Here you can see on the screen a few examples: airlines, travel agency, tour operators, but also mobility providers, hospitality company, hotels, DMO, etc., etc. We are well known for, historically, Amadeus was really connecting the reservation system in the airline system and connecting it to travel agency. But our scope has really broadened, and now we are addressing all these types of different customers. And what we do for them, we provide them different IT solutions, technology solutions, and I wanted to make the focus more particularly on hospitality and destinations DMO, because this is more my remit. I'm the head of sustainability for this particular segment, for hospitality and destinations. So, in a company at Amadeus, not only do we want to operate, let's say, sustainably and as our operations to be as sustainable as possible, we also want to help our customers and the different people in the ecosystem to meet their targets that they have for sustainability. So we do that through developing, let's say, products that we could help our customers, but we also do that through innovation and partnerships, and that is where I'm getting to. What I wanted to show to you more particularly is, before going to that, I'm going to say that 65% of people say that experiences that they do at destinations, when choosing a destination, is super important to them. So have this in mind, because it will be important for the last part of my speech. So I was saying, on top of that, at Amadeus, we are trying to develop solutions, but we're also using partnerships and innovations. And we have developed a great program, I believe it's great, since a couple of years ago, called LIFT. And what it does is that it allows any employee in the organization to take part, to propose an idea related, of course, to travel, to tech, and travel-related topics, to say, I have an idea of a product that I would like to try out, to incubate, and propose it as a business proposal. And then it goes through different phases, different stage gates, where we have a look at the revenue, the business potential, and then it goes up to incubation level. And some of these ideas that we are selecting have particularly something to do with sustainability. So we really try and promote ESG-related ideas. And now, why we are here today is because one of this idea that is currently being developed in incubation phase is a project that we call Recover. Let's say this is our internal project name of this particular initiative. And the idea of this initiative is to connect destination activity providers at destinations with the demand and the supply. And as we wanted to talk today about how can we communicate about these great experiences that you can do at destinations, of course, you need to be able to project that into the different platforms or different channels that are out there. So the idea of this platform is really to say, okay, there must be loads of great experiences that have an impact at destinations, and it's for us to connect both the traveler or these platforms that would like to propose these experiences to the potential traveler. And most of all, also, what this project would like to do is to say, and if you do this activity at destination, it has an impact, and this is the impact that you'll have. And in the room here with me, I don't know whether you had the opportunity to speak with them today. We have 3 people from Amadeus that came with me, Audrey, Grégoire, and Clara, and I think I have a little slide where I have here the contacts that you can see. They're in the room with me here today, and they are the leaders of this particular initiative, this LIFT initiative that I talked about. So I think we are all restricted with timings with catching back trains, but here you have the contact details and the names. And please reach out to them, of course, if you want to discuss that more particularly. So that's it for me for this short presentation.
Super. Thank you very much, Agnes. Shall we would you like to do your question now, or would you like to do it afterwards?
I can, as you want. Do you want to
yes.
do it as a panel,
What if we do as Holger was doing? We can stay here together and do one question together.
All right.
And I have saved your question as well.
So it's not prepared at all. It's just out of the blue.
This is out of the blue. Huh? Let me remind you. So, I know the solution you mentioned in your presentation is in early stage, but have you already collected some relevant insights regarding the demand about positive impact activities?
Great question. Thank you very much, Darcy. So indeed, as I said, this project that I talked about is really in incubation phase. So it's early days. But we have prepared, the team has prepared a survey, and we had the results of this survey where we interviewed over 500 both travelers and travel agency to see is there appetite for these sort of connections and activities, and actually the responses was quite interesting. We have, same as in, let's say, in travel in general, we have a little bit of this say-do gap, where you have 57% of the respondents who said, oh yeah, I really want to do an activity with impact at destinations, but actually when you ask them how many have actually done one, the number dropped to 23%. So there is this say-do gap, and then the question was asked, but why? Why didn't you do an activity while you said you would be really interested? And actually, the response we got, a lot of the prime factor is about communication. It's just that they didn't know. They didn't know about it. They didn't know where to find it. So communication is really the key to address, to connect the demand with the offer. Another thing that this survey showed, and I'm trying to be quick and not to spend too much time for my colleagues here, but another interesting thing that they said is to say, we want to balance the activity that we do at destinations. We want to do the must-do activities, you know, the top
Tour Eiffel, right?
Exactly, with off-the-track, off-the-record other activities. So they really want the mix, but at the moment they really don't have a way to finding them. And the last thing that I want to say about this survey that could be interesting for what you're doing here with the Good Travel Alliance and Green Destinations is to say, how can they know that this activity is really what it says it is? And for this, they rely on, friends and families, whatever, word and mouth, but certifications and, some ways to really...
to verify.
Verify is absolutely key. It's very, very important. And last but not least, I wanted to thank Green Destination as well, because at the moment we're exploring partnerships opportunities for this particular project with Green Destinations, and this is what I wanted to highlight as well. So thank you for that.
Super. Thank you again. And yes, and this is exactly what what we've always been talking about doing since the very beginning of the Good Travel Alliance is, helping to close this gap. And so it's so exciting to be here at this event because of all the interest in doing it, all of the different partners, all of the different destinations that are finally coming together to add, again, more and more pieces to the puzzle. And and this is great. Thank you so much. We had a fantastic time to talk already at ITB in Berlin, and we really appreciate the continued conversations and for you to come and the team as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So we will continue with the other presentations, and then I would like to, after everyone is finished, to invite everybody up to the stage, time permitting, and have some more Q&A. With that said, please, Simon from Outdooractive.
Great. Thanks, Darcy. Actually, I might resort to these. Can I give this to you? This is actually better. Yeah, thank you. The big green is the forward button? Okay, cool. Yeah, so thanks for having me, and I know this is quite late, second day of the conference. We all had that fantastic wine last night, so I really appreciate you being here and being awake, at least most of you. That's really great. Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Darcy. My name's Simon. I use he, him pronouns, and I work for Outdooractive. We are a world-leading platform for nature-based tourism, for visitor management, for digitalization and tourism. And today I want to talk about how responsible destinations can reclaim their image, can reclaim their narrative by getting the right messages across. And I always like to sort of hype up my talks before I start giving them, so to really make you excited about what I'm about to say. So let me tell you that in the next 5 minutes, I will not tell you anything new. You will not see or learn something that you haven't heard before. This is all old news. But as my therapist likes to tell me, you usually need to hear a truth a certain amount of times before you're ready to accept it. So this is my role today. I'm going to remind you of some things that you're all very familiar with. And let's start with some truths. I'm a tourism researcher, and so I always like to look at the facts and figures from research, even if they're uncomfortable. And some of them are comfortable. I mean, 84% of global travelers consider sustainable travel as important, and 53% of those say that it directly influences their selection of destination. I mean, that's good news. People care. We know this. In practice, it's even been shown that accommodations who invest in sustainability can increase their pricing without losing customers. So that's also good news, because it means that investing in sustainability does pay off. There's a really big but, however, and I'm not talking about mine after all the food here in Montpellier. More than half of travelers still feel like there simply are no sustainable travel options on the market. And nearly half of the travelers have no idea where to find sustainable travel offers, exactly what Agnes just talked about. And when it comes to actually making travel choices, we see that only around 10% of travelers prioritize sustainability over cost and quality. And nearly half of travelers believe that travel options that are sustainable are more expensive, even though it has been statistically proven that on average that is not even the case. So the message we get here is quite clear. Travelers do care about responsibility, but it seems like the offers and the messages from destinations that care, from sustainable destinations, from good travel destinations, sort of fail to reach them. And we work with a lot of destinations worldwide, and these are some of the core problems that we've identified in that aspect. So first of all, many destinations still rely on single-channel communication, meaning they will end up with incoherent messaging and with very limited reach. I'll talk about that in a second in more detail. And in terms of communicating their efforts, most destinations inform rather than inspire. And in all that, sustainability is too often still communicated as sort of an add-on, an extra that a destination has, rather than the essence of the destination, the operating system of the destination, the DNA of the destination. So here's what you should not do. Don't treat every communication channel individually, because you won't be able to distribute coherent messages. And you will end up with all of these fragmented messages that tell travelers different things, and you will probably have a hard time reaching all of the right target groups. It's also a lot of effort, it's a lot of work, and you will not see the effects that you want to see through that because you're putting too much effort into all of these individual channels. Instead, what you should do is sort of rely on modern content management systems. These systems help you distribute your content and your messages to a multitude of digital channels at the same time. It also means that you can involve all of your different stakeholders in the destination and abroad. They can contribute content themselves. You can pool it all together in one content management system and then distribute it through multiple channels at the same time. It saves you a ton of work and effort. You will result in a much bigger reach, and your reach will be more targeted as well. So this is basically the model with which our partners, our clients work, and they're very, very successful with that. We're actually going to hear an example later, I think. I'm not sure if you're going to present any numbers, but it's amazing what you can actually do with little resources in terms of reach and visibility. When it comes to communicating sustainability, please don't solely, yes, do communicate it, but don't solely communicate sustainability in terms of statistics and certifications. These are important for creating transparency. This is important because it holds you accountable, because you can verify your claims. But most of the time, these are very unrelatable for travelers. They don't know what to do with that information. Instead, what you should do is embrace storytelling. Make stories, tell stories, and bring them to the travelers. Make sustainability relatable. Make it an experience. Connect your stories with activities that the travelers can actually experience in the destination because it will inspire them to go and want to see for themselves. And finally, stop selling sustainability as an extra in your destination. Hey, we also have, some sustainable options available. Instead, you have to make sustainability the DNA of your destination. It's what we call sustainability by design, You have to be authentic. You have to be accountable for what you claim, and that means you will have to make actual changes. Because this is also something that we learned from communication theory. We actually have very good antennas when it comes to authenticity. And any fake claim is usually identified as such because it feels somewhat off. And travelers will react to that very, very strongly. So we as Outdooractive want to play our part in this. Which is why we have joined the Good Travel Alliance as a founding member. And our goal here is to really put responsible destinations in the spotlight. We believe that responsible destinations, like the partners from the Good Travel Alliance, they deserve to be seen. They deserve to be recognized as such, and they deserve to be visited as leaders in sustainable travel. And we have the reach for that. We're a digital platform. We have the community. Through our platform channels, we reach around 60 million travelers every month. We have a community of over 16 million registered users who use us almost on a daily basis. And with that also comes a certain responsibility, and we want to live up to that responsibility. It's on us to help you tell the right stories. So we sat down with Green Destinations, with the other founders of the Good Travel Alliance, and we worked out a number of upgraded features and visibility campaigns that all members of the Good Travel Alliance will receive for free. We want to tell their good travel stories through our virtual travel guide. We want to include them in all of our campaigns or in some of our campaigns in the near future. And we want to make sure to make this easy and low effort for the destinations. We don't want to create more work for them. We don't want them to have more effort. We actually want to make things easier, remove barriers. And in a way, this is only the beginning, right? We want to continue to give the stage to those destinations that are committed to responsibility, that actually mean business, through visibility, through storytelling, through recognition, and through the reach that we have among the most relevant target groups. And I hope that in the future, we can also bring that accountability in even stronger. We have because in the Good Travel Alliance that will really help put transparency back into sustainability, make it reliable, the kind of information we have, and bring accountability to these claims. We also want to integrate that. So we're really looking forward to working with the Good Travel Alliance on this and really seeing how we can use our reach in the digital sphere to give the spotlight to these destinations. So if you want this for yourself, of course, the best way to do this is to become a part of the Good Travel Alliance, because then you'll see for yourself. Of course, you can also always talk to us. But let me just say, I've got a feeling that the happy days of sustainability buzzwording are sort of over. You know, like it's not enough to just say, oh yeah, no, it's very important to us, sustainability, because then we'll do the same thing as these travelers who claim, you know, to care about sustainability, but then end up making other booking decisions. We have to move first. So it's time we mean business. We have to make destinations sustainable, actually, by design, all of it, not just some of it. And then we have to be accountable for that and talk about it with impact. And that will allow us to go out and inspire travel, to visit all the right places and make all the right choices. So thank you very much.
Great, Simon. Thank you. Maybe like Xavier was asking us to do yesterday, can you give us a concrete example? I know that we've been sharing, and you've been of course talking with not only Jazz but with Scott and many others. But how else and what else do you think you could explain in as far as the ways in which we could work together and how this could really all start to come to fruition?
Well, as I said, we'll have a number of features ready for the members of the Good Travel Alliance, but in the end, it's also about bringing across holistic storytelling and messaging. And of course, the more you combine everything that you have in terms of your digitally available messages, in terms of what you tell the world, the more relatable it is going to be, the better findable it is going to be over search engines, over large language models. It seems almost boring, but we always have to bring up the example of Slovenia just because they do it so well. So we've been working with a lot of destinations in Slovenia for years, anything from the National Tourism Board down to individual destinations. And they they really have understood how to use that digital sphere. So they put their content into the platforms, they combine storytelling and travel guides with actual experiences. They communicate the rules and regulations of their protected areas to make sure that people then are also informed about how to behave, and all of that sort of then works together. I don't think they put too much effort into it, honestly. They just have a really smart system of doing it, and they have it with us. And this is something that we at least want to start with all the destinations who want to in the Good Travel Alliance, that we give them sort of that kind of access and at least some visibility that we can give them right from the start. And I believe the more we can work together there and spread these messages, the bigger the impact will be.
Super. Thank you very much again. Scott from North York Moors National Park, the UK. Thank you, Scott. You prefer a mic or?
I'll try this one. This one okay?
Okay, sure.
Why not? So thank you, everybody. So my name is Scott Elliott. To confuse matters, I actually work for Visit Britain and Visit England, but we are a contracted partner of the North York Moors National Park to do all of their international promotion. So this is the North York Moors National Park. To just give a little bit of context, a national park in the UK is quite different to national parks everywhere else. We don't own the land. So National Park own 1% of the actual national park itself. The rest of it is private landowners, people that own the estates, people that own the buildings, independent businesses, etc. We don't have chain hotels or anything like that. So it's made up of a network of about 650 SME providers, which kind of brought us to the challenge that we had. So we created a sustainable travel project, which was born out of communicating our story. So we came to it because of travel trade. So our main background, I'm not a sustainability expert in any way. I've never worked in sustainability before this project. I've worked in trade and travel marketing. So we worked with our biggest DMCs and tour operators, and we promote only in the EU. We do not promote flying at all for our national park. We only promote via ferry or rail access. We're fortunate to have 2 ferries into mainland Europe from about 90 minutes away from the national park. So we work with our tour operators to try and really promote that story and try and make sure that we have alternates to flying in case people want to have that alternate. People do still fly. We just try and promote the alternates. So our big DMCs came to us with the fact of the green directives that were coming out of the EU. And as much as we're not in the EU anymore, as of about 5 years ago, it still has a huge impact on us because we promote into the EU. So it came out of that, and the national park's own regenerative tourism goals that they've got from their own authority perspective. So how do we actually bring all this in and make sure that we don't lose what is our biggest asset, which is trade? One of the biggest concerns was if we don't make some changes or don't learn about it and promote ourselves better, how will the travel trade that we work with still be able to promote us? Will they promote other destinations where they can get that information and we've lost a bit of a trick in terms of how we can then be promoted? So this is what we did to try and look at that. And we involved the tour operator and the DMCs from the beginning. They knew about this before any of our businesses, so we could make sure we align with what they're doing. Our pilot project's made up of about 15 businesses. We went as holistic as possible on this. This is self-catering B&Bs, it's people that have one cottage, it's agencies that have 30, it's day tour operators, stately homes, etc. Because what we didn't want to do is just focus on accommodation, because that doesn't make our destination any more sustainable as a complete offer or experience. We wanted to make sure that whatever we do has a holistic view, that people can come and have accommodation that is trying to be more sustainable, that we have activities and experiences that are trying to be more sustainable. We will never get to being fully sustainable, I believe that. I don't think the same with accessibility, we'll never be fully accessible. So we came with this project, and the 15 businesses are from all sectors: F&B, attractions, experiences, activities, accommodation, and so on. And they had to apply to this project. We didn't just pick, they had to do, we did a BSSS, so we did the scan with green destinations across the national park, and from that, based on various criteria, the score they got there, the commitment to the international promotion, etc., they could be eligible to apply to this. They had to do an EOI, and then submit a response on being part of the project. And it's worked really well because they are a very committed group. It's probably the first group I've ever worked with where everybody comes to all the meetings. Usually we have a few dip outs and that kind of thing because of time. But what we're trying to do is just embed practical sustainability at the heart of operations. We don't want it to be an add-on. We want to make sure that our experiences are just sexily sustainable. We want to make sure that we don't have to talk about the sustainability because they are just naturally something that is lower impact, and we can kind of avoid some of the wording. We want to develop compelling low-impact tourism offers, improve the readiness for international travel trade, make sure those experiences and businesses are ready to actually communicate their story, and then actually improve their storytelling through training. This is just a really quick kind of timeline on how we're looking into the future. So we're kind of in the middle of that now. We've done all the audits with the businesses. We worked with Acorn Tourism as our provider on this. We're about to go into climate action planning training, so they have a bit of a roadmap, and then we'll start moving on into storytelling, collecting that data, and really start working on this with the tour operators. I'm not going to go too much into all this data, but the reason we're talking about climate action planning is from the BSS, the areas that were the least knowledgeable, or the answers were less, all were around climate and action. And I think actually this slide is probably my most important last one. The red column is where they self-assessed on the BSSS. The blue column is where they were audited by Acorn Tourism and Green Destinations. And you can see that every single one of those went up on the audit. And for us, that was just complete proof that they have no idea how to talk about what they're doing in sustainability. And we really need to help them to make sure that they are at least saying what they're already doing, never mind the stuff that's coming in the future. And that's me.
Perfect, Scott. Thank you very much. Would you like to share maybe a specific example of the way that you feel that you're helping them to communicate?
Yeah, actually. So we do various promotion for the national park itself. But one of the things that I think they were just not bad at, I think they just didn't know how to answer some of the questions, how to interpret some of the KPIs and the measures. So when we ask a lot of these questions, it looks great, but we had to almost like produce a guide on how to answer some of the questions and that type of thing, and just to get it through. But we individually sit with all those businesses to make sure that they know each other, massive part of the network. We want them to work together. We already had really early successes of farms that have accommodation working with our F&B providers to do nights on learning how to be a farmer, that kind of thing. I think the biggest thing that we do to help it is just connect them all. And one of the things that I think the biggest challenge that we had as the destination was we just didn't know the stories. So we didn't have the businesses feeding into us, and that's what we're enabling now is just the ability to share. So. So.
Super, super. And I like that you use the word enabling. That helps us all understand it better. Perfect. Thank you very much. Look forward to getting you all back up here for more Q&A. Please, Jean-Louis from Corsica. It's often the case, I think, that that so many sustainability stories are just untold, even by the actors themselves, right? Probably in Corsica as well. We will soon find out.
Merci, Darcy. Alors, oui, prie de m'excuser parce qu'il y a eu un petit problème technique. J'avais préparé un support avec de belles photos de la Corse pour que vous veniez en Corse. Mais vous pouvez venir quand même. Hein. Vous êtes les bienvenus. Alors, je vais vous parler. A été évoqué la question, le concept du tourisme expérientiel qui est à la mode, bien sûr. Mais on y croit, nous, avec la destination Corse, au-delà des modes, bien entendu. Et je pense qu'on le pratique en fait depuis assez longtemps. Et je vais vous décrire deux expériences. L'une juste avant la Good Travel Alliance et une qui est en train de se faire. Donc on souhaite qu'elle se fasse sous cette Good Travel Alliance, justement. Nous sommes une institution publique en charge de la politique public de l'île de Corse en matière de tourisme. Donc, normalement, nous n'avons pas vocation à créer des produits touristiques. Ce n'est pas notre rôle. C'est le rôle des opérateurs privés, bien entendu, tour opérateurs, agents de voyage. Mais notre rôle, c'est de montrer de nouvelles voies et d'inciter les acteurs privés à s'engager dans ces voies. Donc, c'est sous l'angle de l'innovation que nous intervenons. Et on le fait sur des thématiques habituelles que tout le monde fait ici, hein, l'agritourisme, le no-tourisme, voire le pesca-tourisme qui associe les pêcheurs, qui associe plutôt les touristes à la découverte du métier de pêcheur. Alors, la première expérience innovante, elle s'est faite, elle a été terminée plutôt en 2021 sur la base d'un programme Interreg, un programme de coopération, où il y avait des pays divers comme l'Albanie, la Catalogne, l'Andalousie, la Grèce, etc. L'objectif, il avait l'air très insolite au début, puisqu'il s'agissait de créer un produit zéro impact au sein d'une aire marine protégée. Donc c'était plus qu'insolite, c'était un défi. Donc nous avons travaillé en réseau méditerranéen sur ce défi. Ça nous a donné des éléments de méthode, comme par exemple l'identification d'un réseau d'acteurs locaux qui ont coopéré autour de l'objectif entre les gestionnaires de l'espace protégé. Tout à l'heure, on a eu une intervention d'un parc en Angleterre. C'est le même genre d'espace, mais avec des contraintes environnementales vraiment très fortes. Donc, entre la sphère publique et la sphère privée, comment associer les prestataires du produit, hôtels, restaurants, clubs de plongée, guides au sein de ce produit. On l'a fait en créant un package avec une exigence environnementale élevée en termes de circuits courts, de gestion des déchets et de sensibilisation aux clientèles sur l'environnement qu'elles découvrent. Le package, il fait 6 jours, 7 nuits. Il est commercialisé par l'office de tourisme local de la commune sur laquelle se trouve l'aire marine protégée, Alors sans doute que maintenant je sais que je vais les mettre en relation avec Amadeus. Et il permet, ce produit, sur 6 jours, de pratiquer la randonnée, le snorkeling, des visites d'exploitation agricole, évidemment la visite de l'aire marine protégée et une découverte des écosystèmes. Et il y a aussi, comme toujours, il s'agit de l'aspect nature, il y a l'aspect culture, il y a aussi la découverte du chant polyphonique corse. Voilà, donc ce produit est commercialisé depuis maintenant 4 ans et on le repense, on le retravaille sur une formule plus courte parce que là il s'agit d'une semaine, donc on est en train de le mettre au point sur 3-4 jours pour des clientèles de proximité. Le produit a été soumis à un calcul de l'empreinte écologique avec la création d'un data collector. Et ce que je dirais pour conclure sur ce produit-là, c'est que sur la base de cette innovation, sa vocation, c'est de le modéliser pour en créer d'autres sur d'autres sites naturels protégés en Corse. Nous avons commencé ce transfert d'expérience. Et je terminerai avec un second produit. Donc celui-là, il va être sous la Great Travel Alliance, dont nous sommes membres, très rapidement, hein, puisqu'on est en train d'y travailler. En Corse, il existe un réseau de foires rurales, agricoles et artisanales. Ces foires se sont donné un label. Le label a pour but de n'accueillir sur les foires que des producteurs, jamais de commerçants. Toutes les personnes participant aux foires sont des producteurs, agriculteurs ou artisans. Sur les territoires où se trouvent les foires, il y a une route de découverte qui permet de retrouver les producteurs et les artisans dans une boucle que l'on peut faire dans une journée. Et donc nous, ce que l'on va faire là, c'est trouver des opérateurs, ou des opérateurs de commercialisation pour proposer un produit de découverte, des foires et des artisans et producteurs sur le territoire. C'est assez classique, sauf que ce qui est moins classique, c'est la labellisation. Je l'ai évoqué hier, puisqu'on a parlé de labellisation. Il est très rare que des foires artisanales portent un label. C'est une exigence élevée d'exclure tout ce qui est purement commercial. Voilà, et donc c'est nous, en tant qu'agence du tourisme, c'est une opportunité de dire à nos visiteurs, vous pouvez vous rendre sur ces sites, vous trouverez la production authentique, véritable. Et donc c'est une contribution aussi du tourisme à l'agriculture et à l'artisanat que l'on souhaite développer. Voilà, je vous remercie.
Merci Jean-Louis. Donc, juste pour expliquer un peu mieux, est-ce que c'était à travers le projet Interreg que vous avez eu l'idée et l'intérêt de mettre ces projets en marche?
Pour le premier, oui, c'est un Interreg. Oui. Pour le second, c'est un petit peu différent, mais on va le faire re-rentrer dans un Interreg aussi.
Et est-ce que c'était la volonté et l'intérêt des prestataires qui vous ont expliqué qu'il avait un intérêt et qui voulait répondre à cet intérêt, ou c'était vous qui avez imposé l'idée ou qui avez l'idée autrement?
Tu sais bien que imposer, ça ne marche pas.
Exactement.
Voilà. Non, en fait, hier, on a parlé des labels et je disais que quand on se lance dans une démarche de qualité, c'est ça le label. Alors là, la qualité, elle est d'abord environnementale, mais pas seulement. Donc ce sont des démarches de qualité. Les entreprises ne sont pas obligées de le faire, elles sont libres. Mais quand elles le font, elles deviennent militantes. C'est ça qui est intéressant. Et donc, ces produits-là, on les a faits, je ne dis pas pour leur faire plaisir, mais à leur attente.
à leur attente. Ben, merci beaucoup. Je suis très désolé qu'on n'a pas pu avoir ta présentation et des belles photos de la Corse. J'ai eu le plaisir d'y aller il y a très, très, très longtemps. Et ça serait avec plaisir de vous inviter à au moins voir les photos et éventuellement partager ces expériences à travers notre nouvelle brochure de Good Travel Alliance.
C'est ce qu'on va faire. Mais mieux que les photos, il faut venir.
Ben oui, bien sûr, bien sûr. Très bien, merci. I know we're a little bit pressed for time, but please, everyone, I would like to invite you to come back up, take a comfortable chair, and let me see the time here in my pocket. I think we're supposed to finish just in about less than 10 minutes. So let's try to have at least a little round of questions and answers. Please, if you have a question or a comment that you would like to make, we'll be happy to bring a microphone over to you. Anyone with any particular questions or comments? We have a question over here from, pardon. Simon has a question, okay. Simon.
Is it okay if I ask my question in English to my colleague from Corse? Monsieur, est-ce que vous parlez anglais? Vous entendez très mal. No, je ne peux pas. I can't ask the question in French, but maybe you can translate. Yeah, perfect. Okay. No, it's actually going in the same direction as with Darcy, but it's more a comment than a question and then a question. Xavier Font in his keynote this morning said something in a side note, which was just that he said, excellent hotels with a 9+ rating, those are the ones where you talk to the owners, you know? And that's something that made me think about sort of the sources of the stories that we tell, the sources of the communication as well. Because, you know, as a destination management organization, whichever message you send to people through advertisement, through your digital channels, through social media, is going to feel a little bit like advertisement, right? Because people know that that's your job. It's your job to advertise it to them. But it's quite interesting when sort of the same stories are told by, you know, the stakeholders that you meet in the destination. You know, when you sort of get this coherent picture, when a destination management organization in their marketing talks about regionality and the importance of that and local value chains, local food chains, and so on, and then you say at an accommodation, and that is reflected by the stories that the owners of the accommodation tell you. So, and this is where you have to start translating. My question sort of would be...
Simon, if you have a question, say it a little bit slower, but Jean-Louis is following you on the...
Perfect, yeah. So Jean-Louis, I was wondering, the stakeholders that you work with in Corse, the local producers, the people in agriculture, do you have also some sort of conversation with them about how they interact with the travelers and what sort of messages they should bring across? Or do you just let them do their thing and it actually works out because you're all aligned in your vision anyway?
Oui, c'est un engagement de leur part. L'engagement de recevoir d'abord une clientèle. C'est pas toujours facile pour des gens qui travaillent dans l'agriculture ou dans l'artisanat. Mais à partir du moment où ils s'engagent, ils s'organisent. Généralement, il y a le mari et la femme. Donc il y en a un qui joue le rôle d'accueil, bien entendu.
That's amazing, because it means it's really authentic then, like coming from that side as well. Yeah. But I don't want to hog the conversation. Sorry, Darcy.
Please. Just wanted to make sure to invite Jan and Hanna up as well. And again, since we don't have a lot of time, but I would, yeah, there we go. Thank you, Jan. What if we do also like Xavier did, just in these last 5 minutes? Can I'll start the mic here at this end and have you say a closing word about this topic of communicating good travel experiences.
Like I said at the workshop, I think the key of communication is a good story, but never forget about the quality of the product, otherwise it will not gonna help even a good story.
What?
Anything that you would like to add on to what you were sharing with us, for example, Hannah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I can just recommend, it's always to get feedback from your audience and potential audience, just to be on this connection, not just do it some things and products and only, like always to be in connection with your audience. Yeah, that's what I can say.
Great, thank you. We have a famous word in English that is known probably in countries and in languages around the world called stakeholders. To be in contact with all the stakeholders in your destination.
Sur la communication, donc, moi j'ai bien écouté Simon et je suis tout à fait d'accord avec ça. La communication, ce n'est pas de mettre les questions liées à la durabilité, à l'expérience en option, mais c'est d'en faire le centre, le cœur de la communication. Voilà. J'ai rien d'autre à rajouter parce que c'est très simple et peut-être très compliqué lorsque on doit faire une transition d'une communication à celle-là, en fait.
Okay, so for me, let's say a little bit of something that I would like us all together to reflect on. And we talked a lot about communicating good travel experiencing, connecting the experiences at destination with the provider, there are different platforms. And the reflection I would like us to have is, what about keeping the authenticity, it's a difficult word to say in English, of these experiences if they become mainstream? If you communicate too much about them to all the different channels, how can you keep the authenticity of it? And I haven't cracked the answer to that one, but I think for this audience, it's interesting to reflect on this, to say, how can we communicate effectively on the good assets of a destination and at the same time protecting its assets? So I wanted to finish on this note.
Thank you. I was planning on saying something entirely different, but if it's okay, I would sort of pick up on that, because my answer to that would also be just generally diversify. We talk a lot about USPs and destination marketing and things like that, and that is important, but at the same time, I'm sure there is not just one story in your destination. There are hundreds, there are thousands of stories. Every individual stakeholder in your destination has a story to tell. And this is actually what builds this beautiful tapestry that your destination is. And depending on which angle you look, I mean, the presentation from Liv, I found that incredibly impressive. I said to the person sat next to me in the audience, you know what, they're like 15 years ahead of any destination in Germany in terms of accessibility access, right? And this is one of many, many stories that you can tell from Lviv. And one of many target groups that you can reach with that. So embrace these stories. Don't make up the same story that everyone else does. Don't say, oh, I saw that another destination was successful with X, Y, Z. No, go back to the essence. Talk to your stakeholders. Invite them to become part of that. Maybe they can even contribute their stories themselves through digital media, through social media, through joint content management systems. Incorporate that into your destination portfolio, and automatically you're not going to end up having one or two hotspot destinations or activities in your destination, but you're actually going to end up with a big tapestry of beautiful things and authentic things in your destination.
Thank you very much. And I think linking into something you said earlier in the question you had for Jean, we talked, this morning's panel talked about the Good Travel Experience Guide and for B2B and B2C. I think one thing touching on that you're almost like champions of how do they communicate with the customers. I think one thing that's really important for us in the North York Moors is we have a champions network for the North York Moors, which was designed to tell the story of the North York Moors between those businesses. But I think what we need to make sure we don't forget in any of this is how good they need to be at communicating good travel experiences to the other businesses within, for us, the national park. If we want to grow that collection of experiences and we want to make sure that the destination is full of experiences, the one thing we constantly think about with our project is the kind of legacy of that project. How do we get our champion businesses to champion the actual experience building as well as promoting it to the consumer and to the trade as well?
Excellent. Thank you, everyone. Yes, this is something just to highlight. We know that there are numerous, innumerous experiences within each and every destination, and that's certainly what we're hoping to be able to help destinations to do, is to continue to identify those potential experiences. And as I was saying in the last panel as well, when we were initially talking about experiences, we were talking about the kind of experiences that Jean-Louis was mentioning, a day-long, full of experiences, or a week-long full of experiences. But then we quickly realized that each and every activity in and of itself is an experience, and each and every one of those experiences has a story or multiple stories behind it, and all of those experiences and all of those people behind those experiences love to share who they are and what they're doing. And again, Simon, as you pointed out, Xavier said earlier, this is what makes the difference in each and every experience that we can have. So with that, please join me in a round of applause for all our panelists. Thank you very much, everyone. And just a last note, we have the closing ceremony. We have starting at 1:15. Okay, so starting at 1:15, please. If you'd like to take a little break, please feel free, but we will be getting going again very soon. Thank you.